It was supposed to be another legacy piece, a celebratory interview to cap a legendary career. Clean questions, controlled answers, background music, and a polished voiceover to sell the myth of an icon. The world thought it would get another safe, marketable Ronaldo appearance, one where he'd talk about fitness, family, trophies, maybe tease retirement, and then smile into the camera with brand-friendly humility. But that's not what they got, because when Cristiano Ronaldo sat down that day, something was different. You could see it in his eyes. Calm, but distant. You could hear it in his voice, measured, but heavy. For over 2 decades, he played the game better than anyone. Not just football, the game. Media, politics, business. He sold the product, played the part, and wore the mask. Until he didn't. Until now. It began with small talk. A few reflections on his journey. His youth at Sporting. The early years at Manchester United. The records are broken. The trophies were lifted. But then the interviewer leaned in and asked, "Do you feel football has changed since your peak?" Ronaldo paused, looked down, took a breath. Then he looked back up and dropped the match that would set the entire sport on fire. "Changed," he said. "It's not the same game anymore. It's been rewritten, repackaged, reprogrammed." The interviewer laughed lightly, unsure if Ronaldo was joking, but the smile never came. "This isn't a sport anymore," he continued. "It's a business theater, controlled chaos, a simulation built around engagement metrics, ad revenue, and narratives that don't always match what happens on the pit." And from that moment forward, the gloves were off. He spoke clearly, coldly, like a man unloading weight he'd carried in silence for years. "You know why I left Europe? People said it was for money, that I was washed, that I was running. But the truth? I was done playing a part in someone else's script. I got tired of being told who the hero was, who the villain had to be, and how many goals I could score before it became a problem." The interviewer, clearly rattled, tried to pivot, but Ronaldo leaned forward, locking eyes. "You ever wonder why certain players rise out of nowhere? Why are some clubs always in the finals even when they underperform? It's not a chance, it's not destiny, it's branding, algorithms, business models disguised as merit." Then came the messy moment, the elephant in the room, the eternal rivalry. They needed it, Ronaldo said. They needed good versus arrogant, silent versus showman, Messi versus me. I never hated him, but we were used to it. Divided, positioned. Everything we did was fuel for the machine. And when I didn't play the part, I noticed how quickly the story turned. He spoke of Ballon d'Or ceremonies that were decided before the voting deadline, of interview requests that were blocked, of contract clauses that forbade him from speaking about certain events. "You think you know what happened in 2018, he asked. "You think the award was about performance? No, it was about balance, about spreading the legacy, about keeping both sides of the rivalry equal." The interviewer, by then pale, tried to end the session, but Ronaldo wouldn't let him. "I've already paid the price," he said. "I've been blacklisted, ghosted by platforms, called outdated by people who once begged for selfies. The industry turned because I refused to bend. You think it's a coincidence I haven't been invited back to Europe, even as a guest? Or that certain broadcasters edit out my name in lists of greatest of all time debates? It's not a snub, it's a directive. I stopped being useful to the script." Then he told a story that sent shockwaves through the internet. A phone call in 2019, just days before a UEFA award gala. "They told me, politely, not to attend, said it would unbalance the narrative, that it was better if I stayed home, that the spotlight had to shift. When he refused, the footage of his arrival was mysteriously cut from the broadcast. No red carpet shot, no crowd reaction, no camera pan. I was erased in real time," he said. "That was the moment I knew I wasn't playing football anymore. I was performing in a production Within hours of the interview leaking, the internet exploded. Ronaldo truth trends globally. Fan channels, sports podcasts, and conspiracy forums all scrambled to decode every sentence. Journalists who had once dismissed similar claims began re-watching old matches, old interviews, old decisions. Messi's cryptic Instagram story, Perspective, was suddenly reanalyzed for hidden meaning. UEFA and FIFA refused to comment. Al Nassr went silent. Sponsors began issuing vague statements about respecting diverse opinions, but the damage had been done. For the first time in years, Ronaldo wasn't just trending, he was being believed. And maybe the most haunting part? A moment near the end, when the interviewer asked, "Are you afraid?" Ronaldo smiled. "Afraid? No, but I know the consequences. I know what happens to people who break character. But I've lived enough lives, won enough trophies, built enough legacy. If I have to go out, I'd rather go out speaking the truth than winning another trophy built on lies." The camera cut. The crew stood frozen. The interview was over, but the war had just begun. Cristiano Ronaldo didn't just break the silence, he shattered the illusion. And now, fans around the world are left asking the one question no one wanted to ask: has the beautiful game been a beautiful lie all along? Like if you've ever felt something wasn't right with how football favorites rise and fall. Subscribe for raw, unfiltered stories, feature never once aired. Comment: is Ronaldo blowing the whistle or just rewriting his legend on his own terms? Share this before it gets shadow banned or mysteriously removed. Follow for the real game behind the goals and the secrets beneath the scoreboard.